In the summer of 480 BCE, a colossal army led by King Xerxes I of Persia began its march toward Greece. The Persians had already conquered vast territories, and Xerxes was determined to bring the fiercely independent Greek city-states under Persian control. This invasion was part of Xerxes' grand vision of expanding his empire to the farthest reaches of the known world. The Greeks, however, were not prepared to surrender their freedom. Although the various city-states of Greece were often at odds with each other, they knew that standing alone against such a vast army was futile. Unity was their only hope of survival. One of the key city-states to rise against the Persians was Sparta, a warrior society unlike any other. At its helm was King Leonidas, a man known for his bravery and leadership. Leonidas knew that the Persian forces vastly outnumbered the Greeks. Estimates put Xerxes' army at over 100,000 men, while the Greek forces were only a fraction of that size. Nevertheless, Leonidas was resolved to defend his homeland. He chose a strategic location for the defense, Thermopylae, a narrow coastal pass between the mountains and the sea. This small passage would prevent the Persians from using their numbers to their advantage, forcing them into close-quarter combat. Understanding the importance of Thermopylae as the gateway to Greece, Leonidas set out with a small force of 300 Spartans, hand-picked from among the best soldiers in Sparta. These men were not just warriors but fathers and husbands. Leonidas had specifically chosen soldiers who had sons to carry on their legacy, knowing they would likely not return from this mission. As they marched toward Thermopylae, other Greek city-states sent reinforcements to join them, swelling their numbers to around 7,000. But even with these additional troops, they were still heavily outnumbered. Their task was not just to win the battle, but to delay the Persian advance long enough for the rest of Greece to mobilize its forces. On the first day of battle, the Persians launched their assault. Waves of infantrymen crashed against the Greek defenses, but the narrow pass of Thermopylae worked in the Greeks' favor. The Persian army was forced to engage the Greeks in close combat, and the Spartans, trained from birth in the art of war, proved to be nearly unbeatable in such conditions. Their phalanx formation, where warriors locked their shields together, created a nearly impenetrable wall of defense. The Spartans' skill with their spears and shields turned the battle into a slaughter for the Persians. Each time Xerxes sent his soldiers forward, they were cut down by the disciplined and ferocious Greeks. Despite suffering heavy losses, Xerxes believed sheer numbers would eventually overwhelm the defenders. He even sent his elite troops, the Immortals, 10,000 of his best warriors, into the fray. Yet even they could not break through the Greek defenses. For 2 days, Leonidas and his men held their ground. The Persians, frustrated and astonished by the resilience of the Spartans and their allies, could make no headway. But on the third day, everything changed. A local Greek, Ephialtes, approached Xerxes with information that would turn the tide of battle. For the promise of wealth and glory, Ephialtes betrayed his countrymen by revealing a hidden mountain path that would allow the Persian forces to outflank the Greeks. Learning of the betrayal, Leonidas realized that his position was untenable. The Persians would soon surround them, cutting off any chance of escape. He had to make a decision: retreat and live, or stay and fight, knowing death was certain. Leonidas chose to stay. He dismissed the majority of the Greek forces, allowing them to retreat and regroup. But he and his 300 Spartans, along with 700 Thespians and 400 Thebans who chose to remain, would make their final stand. The Persians, now closing in from both sides, launched their final assault. The Spartans, undeterred by the hopelessness of their situation, fought with even greater intensity. According to the historian Herodotus, they battled with such ferocity that when their spears broke, they fought with their swords. When their swords were shattered, they used their bare hands and teeth to defend their position. Leonidas himself was killed in the chaos, but his men fought on, determined to protect his body and hold the line for as long as possible. By the end of the day, all the Spartans lay dead. The pass was littered with the bodies of thousands of Persian soldiers, a testament to the heroic resistance of Leonidas and his men. The Persians, though victorious at Thermopylae, had been severely delayed. The sacrifice of the 300 Spartans bought the Greek city-states precious time to prepare for the larger war that was to come. The Battle of Thermopylae became a rallying cry for the Greeks. News of Leonidas's courage spread throughout the land, inspiring the city-states to unite against their common enemy. In the months that followed, the Greeks went on to achieve decisive victories at the Battle of Salamis and the Battle of Plataea, effectively ending the Persian invasion. Though the Spartans were defeated at Thermopylae, their legacy endured. The battle came to symbolize the ideals of courage, sacrifice, and unwavering devotion to one's homeland. It has been immortalized in countless works of literature and art, and remains one of the most celebrated military standoffs in history. The 300 Spartans, alongside their Greek allies, showed that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the strength of the human spirit can defy the greatest empires. Their story teaches us that bravery is not measured by the size of an army, but by the determination of those who fight for freedom. Their memory lives on, reminding us of the timeless truth. Sometimes a small group of determined individuals can change the course of history.